Hey, good morning. Welcome to Erie Shores Prepping. I'm your host, Greg. What a beautiful sunrise. Grateful to see it. If you're like me, you feel like somebody's got their hand in the middle of your back and saying, you're going this way, you're going this way, you're going this way. Move. Get marching. And I'm asking myself, whose hand is that pushing me, and why are you pushing me? And I'm going to give you a couple examples here. What is the end game for having Trump arrested, harassed, put in jail, whatever it is? What's the end result? Who is doing that and why? What's their end game? What's their goal? Why is all these pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine, how did all these form so quickly and spread so widely, not only here in the United States, but in UK and other places? You don't see them in Egypt, you don't see them in Saudi Arabia or UAE, you don't see them in China, you don't, or any place else like that. Why is it here that is so widely spread, so violent, so anti-Semitic? Who is stoking that fire? And what is their end game? Why are so many Democrats so ignorant about the corruption in the Biden family? Look, I don't care who you vote for, but if you're not going to be honest about facts and figures and everything else, and you can say, oh, well, that's just Hunter Biden. Okay, it's just Hunter Biden. But let's look at the simple fact that if you or I were some sort of drug addict and we had a gun, we would not be walking around freely. Or if we spent $600,000 and not have a job on hookers and cocaine and sex clubs, people would say, how in the hell did you pay for that? So let's get to the point. What is the purpose of protecting Joe Biden, who is completely incompetent? You see that. There's a lot of questions that people are not asking themselves as to who is behind the hand that is pushing us. Why are they pushing us? Why are the Democrats not standing up for America, but saying, yeah, bring in more illegal, uneducated border crossers and flooding America? What is the end game? And I think if you are curious, at the least bit curious, you might start finding some answers you are not going to be happy with, if you're honest at all. Look at the mass censorship across the networks, and I mean all of them. The mass censorships. I can't talk about the questions regarding elections. I can't talk about that. I can't talk about alternative medicines. Can't talk about that. You're not allowed to talk about that. The scenarios are being shaped by an entity. And why is that? What is the end game? What is the point of all the mass censorship? Can't talk about it. Removing people off the airs. Why now? Who is that hand? Who's behind that hand in my back saying, get off the air? We're going to flag you, get off the air. Who's doing that? Why? What is the end game? You need to start asking yourself some honest, hard questions. And what will happen to you? What control do you have over your life? Why are they pushing eating grass and bugs and killing the farms that produce our food, and the farming lands are going in the hands of multi-billionaires like Bill Gates and such? What is their end game? And I know it's head swimming and mind boggling, and you're like, I don't even have time for that. Well, you better make time for it, because this concerns you and your family. And you need to be prepared for everything, like I've been trying to tell you. The people behind the pro-Hamas, the Palestinian, in my opinion, and doing a lot of research, is the Democratic Socialist Party, the communists here in the United States. Yes, they're here. It's not a conspiracy theory. 73 congressmen of the Democratic voting are owned and operated by the Democratic Socialist Party of America. Look it up. The January 6th committee was made up of Democratic Socialists in the United States, and Liz Cheney is just a buffoon. Everybody else is bought and paid for. Liz Cheney just hates Trump, and that's all there was to it. So you now have people in a position that control voting blocks, and they are voting to destroy America, which is you and me. These things you need to start pondering and saying, how am I going to survive that? How am I going to escape that? What can I do to protect my family and myself? It is going to escalate. It's going to escalate dramatically, like I've been saying in 2024. I predicted this 8 months ago, and now you're seeing it now. Who was actually in the crowd of January 6th? How did they set up Trump? And of course, he helps himself a lot by running his mouth. But who is behind it? What's the reasoning behind it? Everybody knows that Joe Biden is dementia Dolly incarnate. He is now betraying Israel on a daily basis. What's the point of betraying Israel? Because they're a democratically elected government and our ally, the only one in that region. If you can turn the youth, which is what's happening on college campuses, if you can convince them that your idea is right, and nobody else is preaching effectively free speech, America first, the Constitution, you are seeing the propaganda network showing these thousands of demons walking the streets behind masks and denouncing America. They are winning the propaganda warfare. Why? Because the powers that be need their support, and if you can convince the skulls full of mush, to take a phrase from the late, great Rush Limbaugh, you've won the war. And these same people that are supporting Hamas, the Communist Party, are the ones that will come for you. And that's where America ends. We're not coming back from this. I don't have a name for the hand other than the swamp and the establishment. You need to be prepared to take your flags down, take your posters down, change hats, and shut your mouth and say, I'm not going to that rally, put my head up so I can become a target of an illegitimate inquiry. You need to work behind the scenes and learn how to do that in order to survive. But first, you have to ask the questions. Second, you have to know the answers or have a pretty good idea. Third, you know how to prepare for the outcome. And what are you going to do about it? That's just my thoughts for this morning. Now, that's your physical body, your spiritual body. You need to repent, baptized, clean slate, mind, body, and soul, all in alignment with God. That's the true answer for all the questions that you will ever need to know. Greg out.